Diamonds, symbols of love, status, and sometimes excess. They are coveted treasures that have fascinated humanity for centuries. Before they dazzle on a ring or in a music video, most diamonds take a detour through one city, Surat, India, a bustling hub of activity and craftsmanship. Surat is the world's diamond workshop, where an astounding 90% of the world's diamonds are meticulously cut and polished to perfection. This city's industry employs millions, transforming rough stones into sparkling gems that captivate the world. India is the global hub, importing rough diamonds from Russia, Africa, and Canada, then exporting polished stones worldwide, fueling a vast network of trade. The US is India's biggest customer. American demand keeps Surat's economy alive and thriving. But what happens when politics disrupts this glittering pipeline, casting a shadow over the industry? A single policy shift in the US can send shockwaves through Surat, threatening jobs and livelihoods, creating uncertainty. For workers and small business owners, it's not just about luxury, it's about survival, about putting food on the table. The diamond trade is a web of family-run workshops and small businesses, not just faceless corporations, each with its own story. When America changes the rules, the impact is immediate and personal, affecting lives and futures. This is more than a story about global trade. It's about how distant decisions can devastate entire communities, altering destinies. And that's exactly what happened, leaving a trail of uncertainty and despair. The sparkle of diamonds hides a fragile reality, a delicate balance easily disrupted. When the world's biggest buyer sneezes, Surat catches a cold, feeling the chill of economic downturn. Let's see how one tariff changed everything, altering the course of an entire industry. Fast forward to 2025. The world looks different, but some things feel eerily familiar. The Trump administration returns to power, and with it, the era of aggressive tariffs makes a comeback. This time, India finds itself in the crosshairs, as a sweeping 25% tariff is slapped on its diamonds and jewelry exports to the US. Overnight, Indian diamonds become 25% more expensive for American buyers, sending shockwaves through the market. For Indian exporters, it's a disaster. How do you compete when your main product just got a quarter pricier? Many businesses are left scrambling for answers. US jewelers, heavily dependent on Indian supply, suddenly face soaring costs and shrinking profit margins. Orders are canceled, shipments stall, and panic spreads from Mumbai's bustling offices to the busy streets of New York's jewelry district. The entire supply chain is thrown into chaos, with confusion and uncertainty at every step. The tariff was meant to pressure India over its Russia ties, but it hit everyone, big and small, across both nations. Small workshops in Surat, already operating on razor-thin margins, are pushed to the brink of closure, threatening thousands of livelihoods. The logic was simple: hurt India's economy, force a policy change. But the reality was far more complicated. But global trade isn't that simple. Every action has a ripple effect, and the consequences are rarely contained. The pain ricochets back to American businesses and consumers, who now face higher prices and fewer choices. The tariff wasn't just a policy, it was an economic earthquake, shaking the industry to its core. No one in the White House seemed ready for the aftershocks or the widespread disruption that followed. The result? A mess that no one fully anticipated, leaving both governments and businesses scrambling for solutions. The diamond pipeline was shattered, and the industry would never be the same again. Surat, the diamond capital of the world, felt the shock instantly. The usually bustling markets went eerily silent overnight. Workshops that once buzzed with activity closed their doors. Orders from overseas vanished without warning, leaving the city in a state of disbelief and confusion. Small business owners, already running on razor-thin margins, suddenly found themselves unable to buy new rough stones or pay their loyal workers. Many faced mounting debts and impossible choices. Thousands of skilled artisans, who had spent years perfecting their craft, were suddenly jobless, left to wonder how they would support their families. In a city where millions depend on diamonds for their daily bread, the impact was nothing short of devastating, rippling through every neighborhood. Families lined up for aid, hoping for a lifeline. Business owners were forced to sell personal assets just to pay partial wages and keep hope alive. The local economy crumbled. Tea stalls, tool shops, and entire neighborhoods suffered as spending dried up and uncertainty grew. Industry experts warned that up to 200,000 jobs could be lost, a staggering blow to the city's workforce and future. What began as a political move with the new tariff quickly spiraled into a humanitarian crisis, affecting lives far beyond boardrooms and trade tables. Surat's vulnerability was exposed for all to see. Too much reliance on one market, one customer, and too little preparation for shocks. For many, the American tariff wasn't just bad for business. It was a direct threat to their way of life, their identity, and their future. The sparkle that once defined Surat faded, replaced by fear, anxiety, and deep uncertainty about what lay ahead. The city held its breath, waiting desperately for relief that, for now, simply didn't come, leaving hope hanging in the balance. The tariff didn't hit a thriving industry. It hit one already on the ropes. COVID-19 had already shut down workshops and disrupted supply chains. The war in Ukraine made rough diamonds scarcer and pricier as Russian supply dried up. Global demand for luxury goods was already softening. Then came lab-grown diamonds, real but cheaper and more ethical, winning over younger buyers. Surat's traditional industry was squeezed from all sides. Pandemic, war, and new technology. The 25% tariff was the final blow. Businesses were fighting on too many fronts, running out of options. The crisis wasn't just economic, it was existential. Could the industry survive this perfect storm? The answer was far from clear. The world seemed to be conspiring against Surat's diamond dream. With disaster looming, India's diamond leaders raised the alarm. Industry voices like Kirit Pansali and Colin Shah called the tariffs a death blow. They warned, this isn't just about profits, it's about millions of jobs and families. The Indian government scrambled for solutions, but Washington was unpredictable. Uncertainty paralyzed the industry. No one knew if negotiations were even possible. Some leaders hoped for diplomacy, arguing that hurting India would hurt the US too. They pushed for talks, but prepared for the worst. The crisis forced tough conversations about the industry's future. Could they adapt, or would they collapse? The only certainty waiting for rescue wasn't an option. The industry's plea was urgent, but hope was fading. Surprisingly, American jewelers weren't cheering the tariffs. They were panicking. US jewelry companies rely on Indian diamonds. There's no domestic alternative. The tariff didn't protect American jobs. It just raised costs for everyone. Jewelers faced a choice: absorb the cost and lose profits, or pass it to customers and lose sales. The policy backfired, hurting US businesses and making jewelry pricier for Americans. Main Street jewelers joined Indian exporters in protest, forming an unlikely alliance. The message was clear: the tariff was a lose-lose. Hopes for a quick fix faded. Most expected months of disruption. US businesses braced for impact, scrambling to adapt. The global diamond trade's interconnectedness was undeniable. The tariff was a boomerang, hurting both sides. The backlash was loud, but the policy stayed. The pain was shared from Surat to Ohio. As the US shut out Indian diamonds, Canada quietly stepped in. Canada, a producer and polisher of high-quality diamonds, became the new go-to for American buyers. Canadian diamonds, known for ethical sourcing and craftsmanship, suddenly looked like a bargain. US retailers shifted orders north, bypassing tariffs and securing steady supply. It wasn't a flood, but it was a significant shift in the market. Canada didn't need headlines, just stability and access. The US didn't stop wanting diamonds. It just found a new route. The big winner? Canada, not American industry. The tariff redrew the diamond trade map overnight. Trade, like water, finds a way. Canada's gain was America's self-inflicted loss. The lesson: block one partner, empower another. The diamond world adapted fast. Faced with crisis, India's diamond industry pivoted. First, it looked inward, targeting India's own growing middle class. New campaigns promoted diamonds as essential for weddings and milestones. The goal: build a stable domestic market, less reliant on U.S. buyers. Simultaneously, exporters chased new markets in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Europe. Diversification was the new mantra: never again depend on one customer. But these strategies took time, too long for struggling small businesses. Immediate relief was needed: subsidies, loans, and government intervention. The pivot showed resilience, but couldn't erase the pain. The industry was fighting for survival, one market at a time. The 2025 tariff crisis was a wake-up call for India's diamond empire. Over-reliance on one market proved dangerous. Diversification, at home and abroad, became essential for survival. The industry also faced a reckoning with lab-grown diamonds, forcing some to adapt or perish. The future may blend mined and man-made gems. Despite hardship, Surat's artisans have survived crises before. The hope: a more agile, modern, and resilient industry will emerge. The global diamond map has changed. India's dominance must be re-earned. The sparkle dimmed, but the fight isn't over. Only time will tell if this was the end or a new beginning.